Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment that the entire country has been waiting for. CNN just had a full-blown meltdown on live television, openly laughing as Kamala Harris officially waved the white flag and walked away from politics forever. But that's only the beginning of this political earthquake, guys, because at the same time, President Donald J. Trump's America First tariffs are shaking the global market so hard that even the almighty Federal Reserve has been forced to freeze in its tracks, completely surrendering their September rate cut plan and admitting that they're now waiting on Trump's next move. Now, think about that for a second, okay? The same media that sold Kamala as the future of America is now mocking her like yesterday's trash. The same untouchable Fed that claimed independence is suddenly bowing to President Trump's trade war strategy. Yeah, we're living through like the complete collapse of the establishment's power structure. And CNN just broadcasted their panic for the world to see. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what went down in the historic on-air humiliation for Kamala, why even her own party and their mainstream allies are throwing her under the bus now, and how President Trump has single-handedly flipped the tables on the Federal Reserve in a way that we've never actually seen before. Now, trust me, guys, what I uncover next, this is going to leave you stunned. You're not going to believe who CNN says that they're rallying behind now that Kamala Harris's career is in the ashes. And you're not going to believe how deeply the Fed is entangled in Trump's tariff plan heading into the fall. So this is not just politics as usual. This is a turning point in history. So, hit the like button and don't dare click away, because what you're about to hear, this is going to make you rethink everything you thought you knew about CNN, Kamala Harris, and the Federal Reserve, and President Trump's grip on America's future. So we all saw it. You saw it. I saw it. Millions of Americans saw it. CNN didn't just report on Kamala Harris stepping away from elected office. They actually mocked her. They laughed at her. They ridiculed her on live TV, kind of like she was like a political joke that the entire country was just in on for the entire time. After years of telling us that Kamala Harris was the next historic first, actually, no, they were telling us that Kamala Harris was the first historic female VP America needed, right? Then the next big thing for the Democrats is that, you know, she's the greatest thing since sliced bread and the so-called future of the nation. CNN flipped the script the second that it was clear that her career was over, though. The tone, their tone on CNN, it wasn't somber, it wasn't respectful, it was actually gleeful. It was ruthless and it was humiliating. Guys, they read her statement. For now, my leadership in public service will not be in elected office, end quote. And they laughed like it was some kind of a punchline of a bad joke. I mean, the same people who spent billions of dollars and endless airtime manufacturing this Kamala Harris superhero image, they're now trampling on what's left of her political corpse. And so here's a question that should pretty much make every viewer take a pause. Was Kamala Harris always a fraud, propped up by the media to stop Donald Trump? Or is CNN now betraying their own star player because they got a new favorite in 2028, possibly Gavin Newsom? Well, I think that this is a little bit more than just political theater. It's a historic meltdown. This is a moment where you actually see the cracks in the Democratic media machine. They built her up. They fed you and me the narrative. And now they're throwing Kamala Harris under the bus like none of it ever mattered. But trust me, this humiliation, this is only the tip of the iceberg. That's right, guys, just the tip. Because what we're about to get into next explains why Kamala's entire empire was a house of cards from the very beginning, a fake political brand collapsing in real time. So, excuse me, let's talk about how we even got here, because Kamala Harris didn't just decide to retire from politics out of principle or service to the country. She was cornered. So her entire career was propped up by $1.5 billion in establishment money, focus groups, and endless PR campaigns designed to try to make you believe that she was beloved, powerful, unstoppable. Remember all the fake rallies and all that stuff? Yeah, all the fake love, all the celebrities. Cardi B forgot, her phone wasn't working when she had to read her script because she didn't have anything to say from the heart. Yeah. But there was no real grassroots movement. There was no real grassroots movement behind Kamala Harris ever. There never was. There was no surge in genuine support all of a sudden. There was no Obama style hope and change. None of it, right? And I think the truth actually came out the second she had to face reality in California in her own home state, the state where she was attorney general, a senator, and the sitting vice president of the United States. The same state that was supposed to cheer her return, throw her roses at her feet like they did in the Coliseum and, hand her the governor's seat on a silver platter. But behind closed doors, polling showed she would likely lose, and she was going to lose badly. So instead of risking the ultimate humiliation of being rejected by her own people, she just decided to go ahead and walk away. Now, comment down below, was this smart or was this a stupid move for Kamala Harris to walk away? Or at least this is what the press release is saying. So in reality, this wasn't a retirement. This is more of a retreat under fire. And yet CNN still can't tell you the truth. They won't admit that their entire Kamala Harris narrative was a scam, a desperate attempt to stop Donald Trump in 2024. So they pivot. They laugh at her. They call it quitting, and then they prepare to crown Gavin Newsom or whoever else they choose next to be their savior. So I got to ask you this. Is Kamala Harris the victim of a corrupt machine that used her and then threw her away? Or was she always a willing puppet in their plan to keep real leadership like Donald Trump out of power? I would love to hear what you guys think on that one, because one thing is for sure. The empire that they built for Kamala Harris, it is crumbling before our very eyes. And CNN just broadcasted their political funeral for the world to see. Now, most Medicare plans, they have fine print that hides fees and restrictions or limits that you just don't see until it's too late. Chapter's job is to find and fix those problems before they cost you big time. Now, Jamie from Texas, she said, I save $600 a year thanks to Chapter's review. And Linda Ortega said, I have great news. Chapter helped me save big. I love it. Guys, I partnered with Chapter because they're not afraid to tell you the truth about your plan, and they'll help you find something better if there is one. And if you're already on the best plan, they're going to tell you that too. So you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Give our friends at Chapter a call right now. Phone number is down below on your screen, 909-563-8279, or visit them on the web at askchapter.org/Ron. I left a link for you guys down below. Do not wait for bad news in your mailbox. Just find out what you're missing today. Now, if you think that the mockery ended with Kamala Harris's exit announcement, think again. CNN didn't just laugh. They revealed something far uglier about the system that they serve. This is the same network that spent years painting Donald J. Trump as a threat to democracy. I'm so tired of saying that. And I'm pretty sure you're tired of hearing it. All while they were propping up Kamala Harris as the future of America. Every time Trump fought for lower taxes, border security, or fair trade fairness, CNN went on the attack. But when Kamala delivered her incoherent word salads, dodged the press for weeks, and ran a campaign built on nothing but anti-Trump rhetoric, what do you know? CNN told you that she was brilliant, historic, and unstoppable. Now that she's burned out, what does CNN do? They laugh in her face on live television, acting like they never pushed her on they're acting like they never pushed her onto America in the first place. Like all of a sudden, they're saying that she never stood a chance in 2026. Really? Suddenly they admit she's got no shot in 2028. Guys, this is what I call media betrayal in its purest form. I mean, when you're useful, they elevate you. When you fail, they stomp you out like yesterday's garbage. There's no accountability. There's no apology for lying to the American people for years. None of that. Just a quick pivot to the next pawn that they can push into position. So pay attention to how they do this. I'm telling you, this is the playbook. And so that brings me to the question that every honest American needs to answer. Is CNN finally telling the truth about Kamala Harris, or are they just moving their chess pieces around to protect their precious Democrat machine for 2028? Because if they'll lie about Kamala, they'll lie about anybody. And you know they've lied about Donald Trump more than anybody else in history. But here's what they don't want to admit. Trump is winning. not just politically, but and not just culturally either, economically too. And it's scaring the life out of the people who thought that they ran this country, which brings us back to the real question that Washington is panicking today. So while CNN laughs on air, the Federal Reserve is sweating bullets. For decades, they called the shots. They told America when to raise rates, when to cut, when to suffer under inflation or feel relief. The Fed was untouchable, above politics, above the people, and, beyond the reach of anybody for that matter, until Donald Trump walked back into the Oval Office. Now, at their last meeting, the Fed, they refused to cut interest rates. Why? Because Jerome Powell, he admitted openly, like international developments are creating uncertainty. So I want to go ahead and translate that just in layman's terms, right? Trump's America First tariffs have thrown their entire playbook into chaos. It's really what it means. The Fed had nearly a 60% chance of cutting rate cuts, a 60% chance of cutting rates in September before Trump unleashed his new tariff wave on foreign imports. After Powell's press conference, that number dropped to 46%. So Trump is using tariffs like a master tactician, pressuring foreign nations, reshaping trade deals, and bringing leverage back to America's workers. And now the almighty Federal Reserve, the same institution that's supposed to be above political influence, they're frozen. They can't even make a move until Trump makes his next move. So this is history in the making. The establishment that spent years calling Trump reckless on the economy now has to admit, without saying it out loud, that the man that they tried to destroy is controlling the game. And so you know who can't handle the truth, right? CNN and every globalist insider watching their grip on power slip away. So while Kamala Harris is getting tossed aside like a failed PR experiment, there's something else that's happening that's sending CNN and their allies into silent panic. Donald J. Trump is not just winning politically. He's reprogramming the entire economic machine of this country. Now, for decades, Washington insiders, they told you that the Federal Reserve was untouchable. They said no president, no administration could influence its course, but Trump walks back in and rolls out tariffs designed to protect American jobs and rebuild U.S. manufacturing. And all of a sudden, the Fed is frozen. The markets are shaken, and every so-called expert is scrambling to rewrite their talking points. So here's the part that CNN just cannot stomach. The same man that they attacked every day for like a decade now holds real, undeniable power over global trade and America's future economy. The Fed, the markets, foreign governments, they all have to wait on Trump's next move. That's dominance. That's leadership. That's what putting America first looks like in action. So now ask yourself this. Why do you think CNN is all of a sudden turning on Kamala Harris with such cruelty? Like, could it be because they know that she and the entire Democrat establishment has no answer for this? They can't fight Trump on the economy. They can't fight Trump on jobs. And now they're left cannibalizing their own because they're terrified of 2028. So this is pretty much where the next part of this meltdown really hits hard. Kamala's so-called future is dead before it even begins. So I want to go ahead and cut through the noise. The media spent years telling you Kamala Harris was their apparent heir to the throne, the woman that could carry the Democrat Party torch for decades. But the reality doesn't care about their headlines. Kamala Harris couldn't beat Trump in 2024. She couldn't even dominate polling in her own home state for governor. And now, with every passing day, her chances of running in 2028 are evaporating. CNN's own panel admitted it live on air. They know Kamala Harris doesn't have the base. She has no charisma. The credibility, she doesn't even have the credibility to even clear the field for a primary. So if she tried to run again, she would just get crushed, not just by Trump, but by Democrats like Gavin Newsom, who see blood in the water and have no problem stabbing their former ally in the back to grab a little bit more power. So the word salads, the flip-flopping policies, the manufactured image that never connected with real voters, well, It's all catching up to her now. Her career is not just paused, it's erased. And CNN, the same network that once protected her, is laughing as they help to bury it. So the real question isn't, will Kamala Harris run, or better yet, return? The real question is, how long before the Democrat machine finds a new puppet to prop up, and will the American people fall for the same scam twice? So while Democrats are busy cannibalizing their own, Americans are witnessing something that they haven't seen in decades. They're witnessing a president who refuses to bow to global pressures, who fights tooth and nail for the people who actually built this country. Donald J. Trump's America First tariffs are not just some reckless gamble like the media wants you to believe. They're strategic, a calculated play to bring back jobs, to rebuild our manufacturing base, and to make sure that foreign nations finally play fair with the United States. Now, for decades, presidents talked about being tough on trade, and then they handed America's wealth away. Trump, he's making them pay for it, and the entire world knows it, because meanwhile, the Democrats, they're left with nothing but wreckage. A failed vice president who can't even win her own state, a party splintering between radical progressives and a corrupt old guard, and now even their own loyal media lapdogs, they're turning on them to save their own reputation. It's a legacy of failure, deceit, and broken promises. And it stands in stark contrast to the president who actually delivers, who fights for your paycheck, who fights for your job security and your family's future every single day. And if that's not enough to expose the cracks in their empire, well, CNN's final meltdown makes it crystal clear that they know that the end of their game is coming. Now, picture this, okay? CNN reads Gavin Newsom's sympathy tweet. CNN reads Gavin Newsom's sympathy tweet to Kamala Harris, a very soft, empty message about her service to the nation, right? Instead of rallying around her, instead of defending her supposed hero, right? The panel bursts into awkward laughter, throwing snide comments about how Newsom and Kamala will fight each other in the future. This wasn't solidarity. It wasn't respect. It was pure mockery, live on air for millions of people to see. The same network that once told you that she was untouchable, historic, the future of leadership in America, now jokes about her political grave as if they weren't part of the machine that was building these lies to begin with. So this is what desperation looks like, folks. A media empire scrambling to find a new savior, a political party with no plan, and a power structure that's terrified because Donald Trump has already rewritten the rules. Kamala's career, gone. The Fed's independence shaken to its core, the Democrat media machine crumbling on live TV. This is why today isn't just another news cycle. This is a historic turning point in America's fight to reclaim real leadership, real power, and real accountability. So here's where we stand. Trump is in charge. The establishment is fractured, and the world knows it. CNN's meltdown wasn't just about Kamala. It was a public confession that the media, that the machine that they've been running for years is broken beyond repair. And of course, if you're tired of the lies, the fake leaders, and the games played at your expense, you've just seen the truth with your own eyes. Trump's America First movement is rewriting history one victory at a time. And trust me, guys, you don't want to miss what's coming next. YouTube thinks you're going to love the next video that pops up right here. And after what we just exposed, you're going to want to see exactly how deep this goes. So click that video, watch it, and let's keep shining a light on the lies that they can't hide anymore. We'll see you on the other side.